recordings for the classes are available. Okay. And we've added the latest addition, which is not a current class that's ongoing. It's a pre-recorded class. Okay. That was handled by myself some years ago. And I think it will help most of us on the call. It talks about research and how to do some of the things, right? So please try and subscribe, join it. So you look for Research Academy. It's under the series Research Academy, under the NUGS-CHINA Scale-Up platform. So you find the videos, about 8 of them there. Just try and consume the information there to help you. All right. So we'll move on to PowerPoint. So we are starting the PowerPoint series today. So I'll share my screen. All right. Okay. So once you are privy to the office space, you type PowerPoint. Once it's installed, you have your PowerPoint opening. Okay. So I'll go for a blank presentation. Hopefully you can see my screen. So I'll go for a blank presentation, which is where we want to start. There are other templates that are also available based on your own interest. You can start designing from there. But in the academic community, I'm sure most universities have a template. If you're in China, maybe to be in Chinese, so you need to customize it by yourself. But there are very nice university templates all around China, and I'm sure it works for other countries as well. So you can start from there. But if nothing at all, we'll start from scratch. Okay. So one basic rule that we'll have for our presentation is that it's a PowerPoint. It's supposed to be points, not text. So whatever you are supposed to say, you are not putting it on the slide. You are putting a pointer to help you remember what to say. Okay, so that would be the underlying rule in everything that we do here. You don't need to put a lot of text here. There is a rule that says 6 by 5. Some also say 7 by 6, meaning that there should be 7 words along the screen, across the screen, and then 5 words along the screen. So let's say you have 5 points and then just 7 words each point is just 7 words. So, or 6 by 5, depending on what rule it is you have. So as much as possible, we should put in tables. We should be putting figures, we should be putting equations, we should put in things that are more graphical here. It's quite different from Word, right? So this is just a platform to help us to convey the idea of what we have done. You've written the paper, now you have to go to a conference. You've written the paper, you need to do your thesis defense and all that. So PowerPoint is just a way to also help us, or a tool to help us communicate our ideas. So we'll go tab by tab, just like we did in the Word space, so we don't skip anything. So we'll go to File first, which is quite similar to the Word interface. It's the same actually. So I'll not spend much time on this, but info gives you what you have, how to inspect the work. If there's a problem with the
But
file,
that's
you
why
can
you
inspect it here. Okay. Um, Okay. Sorry about that distraction. Okay. So yes, you also have new where you can choose a new template. There's a blank one here. There's a iron. There are so many. You can also search for other templates that are here. So under the suggested searches, you can find presentation, themes, education, charts, diagram, business, infographics. So you can explore this function and then also search for other things that are related to what you want to do. Okay. You can also open the file type depending on where you have saved it. You can save as, you can also print, you can share, and then export. You can close the account which you are in, feedback, and then options. So options is where you usually spend more time. And if your customization that you did in Word, you try and apply it here, right? So under general proofing, say typography, you can go through all this and we've discussed it before. So I'll skip this part. All right. So that will be for file. Then we go to home. Home. And the home also quite similar to the ribbon is quite similar to the word, depending on how much you have customized it. Um, and the clipboard, you can copy paste. You can also check whatever you've copied within a certain time frame, and then you can access whatever has been copied from there um, as your temporary storage place, right? So let's go to new slide. We want to create a new slide. You can either click on the new slide itself, which gives us the control M, or you can try it and look at what type of slide you need to do. Okay, so if you want to be specific, then you choose title slide, title and content, section header, depending on what kind of slide you want at that moment, right? And then you can also, for example, choose a blank slide. Maybe you want to design something from scratch. One way of creating our figures, okay, for our papers, you can design it in PowerPoint, okay. So you can use a blank screen and then try and do everything there. That's one way of doing it. You can also duplicate slide. You can reuse some of the slide. And then here we have slide from the outline. Okay, so let's say you have some kind of template already in saved in a certain format. You can use that particular format to give you what you want to do here. Okay, then we have layout, which is virtually the same as what I just said earlier. So what type of style do you want? You want to create a title slide, having the title of the presentation, your name and all that, or just the title and content. There are various ones here. Okay, so you can choose from them. You can reset that after you've chosen, you don't like it, so you just go back and undo everything, right? Then here, section, which is what I want to highlight in this part. Section helps you also to be able to know what is coming up next or to be able to organize your slide. So let's say I'm doing a PPT that is mimicking my paper, right? So I finished writing my thesis. I want to present, or I'm at a conference. So the first one maybe will be title slide, right? So let me add, you go to section, then you add section. So let's say I'll say title and introduction, or title and maybe table presentation outline, right? Which will be table of content if it's in Word. So let's say presentation outline. So you rename that part. So this particular slide will be table of contents, right? Or presentation outline. And then let's say I have some slides after that, a few of them. Then I have my introduction. I want to create introduction. So I'll go back to section again, and then you rename the section as introduction. Okay, it also has its own slide. You have duplicate, duplicate, duplicate. And then let's say the next one, I want to do, let's say literature, right? I want to talk about the literature. So what do I do? Go back to section again and then add section. And I have my literature review. So this kind of organize your files a bit or your slides a bit. So it helps you in trying to navigate. And then you can also hide them. You can collapse the session so it looks like this, where you can see it. It's quite similar to the navigation in the Word, right? So here you know, okay, my title and presentation outline has 2 slides. My introduction has 2 slides. My literature review also has 1 slide. Okay. So that's for section. It's just a way to also help you to keep track of what's going on. Then we have the normal ones like the font size, font style, and all that, right? You can also here, which is one question, is it Gifty or someone asked me? It's available here in PowerPoint. I don't know for Word. Even though I said we'll do it, it always skip me because there are different applications, right? But this is one way of cleaning up the spaces, unwanted spaces that you have, right? Okay, so let's say I have typed the word Francisca since her answer is up. Just a moment. I'll attend to you. Okay. So let's say I have Francisca, and then for some weird reason, this is what is happening, right? So I want to clean up the spaces. I go to this particular AV thing called character spacing. Then you can adjust the spacing. So I have the option of very tight, tight, normal, loose, very loose. And then you can also do more spacing where you specify what type of spacing you want. Okay. So this can help us if you have some weird text and you want to clean it up. So if you say tight, you have this. It's a little bit better than before. And then
I
tight is
see.
also here. And then we have very loose and then loose. Okay. Francisca, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to find out how you closed the boxes. I didn't see how you did that.
Which
The
boxes?
slides, you actually took them out, leaving only the title and presentation, introduction.
Okay, okay. So you go to collapse. You see the arrow here. It's just to
Okay,
collapse it. So you click on that. Once you click on that, it hides everything.
okay,
When
okay.
you click on it again, it comes back.
I get it now. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So yeah, I was talking about the cleanup of the character spacing, which can help us in certain scenarios. You can also change the fonts, the casing, that is uppercase, lowercase, and all that. As I'm tabbing over each one, you can see that is changing. Okay. And then you can highlight for some reason. You can also increase the font size or decrease the font size. But let's say that you made a mistake, right? You want to clear every formatting. You just go to the eraser sign here, which is to clear all formatting. So it goes back to the beginning where you had what you had before, right? Before you started the formatting. So that's all for the font size, the font parts of the ribbon. You can also look at this small arrow here where it gives you what to do. So currently my normal or my default template is Calibri headings, light headings, right? So if I want to change that particular thing, I can do the customization from here. Okay. So what would be my Latin text font? Um, let's say I want Times New Roman for some reason. Times New Roman is good for Word. It's also sometimes good for PowerPoint, but you can try Arial. Arial also gives it a kind of prettier look when you're doing text, right? So Arial is good for um, PowerPoints also, aside Times New Roman. But let's say I want to keep Times New Roman here. So default, it changes everything to Times New Roman. Okay, you can also specify what font should be normal. Okay, that's for the font place. Then moving on, we go to paragraphs, which is quite similar to the Word also. We have the bullets, how to number and all that. But one thing I want to emphasize on that part is the columns, right? Before that, okay, Miriam, right?
Okay, thank you very much. You made mention of the fact that we can um, import a customized PowerPoint. I didn't get that part very well.
Import customized PowerPoint. No, I was talking, I don't know if it's what you are referring to, but I was saying initially that the universities usually have their own PowerPoint with the customized template, so you can use that. I don't know if that's what you are referring to, or it's something else I said that maybe.
Yeah. Not it's not about the university
You can
PowerPoint.
remind me at which point I made that statement, maybe to help me remember.
Um, I think it
Oh,
was on
this
the file.
is it a small
Wow.
arrow?
Um, I don't remember saying that, but
Okay. Or probably I misunderstood what you said.
okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't remember making that statement, but anyway. Let's
Okay.
continue. Maybe
Thank,
if it comes back to mind, I'll address it.
all
Okay.
right. Thank you.
Yes, but there are ways of importing other things into PPT. We'll get into that. But as to importing a customized PPT, oh, okay, I think maybe this one where I talk about new, is it here? Is it about
Yes,
this side?
please. Yes,
Yes, so you
please.
can choose the styles from here. So let's say if I choose presentations, I have various templates online, right? Or
Okay.
okay, so under presentations, I have 282 templates. Under themes, I have 94. And let's say business, I have 66. So let's choose education since we are all here for education. So maybe I want to talk about biography presentation. I think maybe this is what you were talking about.
Yes, please.
Okay. Oh, yeah, yeah. So here you can get the templates from here, then just take one of them. Okay. Yeah. Please, what font
Thank
style can
you.
we use for the titles, headings you mentioned? Okay. So I was saying area. So that's just my advice, right? But when it comes to PowerPoint, more of how well does it look, right? So let's see the difference. Let's say I use Arial for this particular, and then I'll also type in let's say Calibri, which is most times the default. But let me change it to Times New Roman. Let's see a difference. There's also Tahoma and all the other ones. It depends on what feels right for you and what feels easy on the eyes, right? It's not so much in your face as they say it. But yeah. So which one do you think is nicer? Or which one would you go for? The one on the left or the one on the right? I think it's a beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder, right? So in this particular case, I think that will apply to what you. So you can explore some of the font styles as much as possible. It's not too complicated. Okay, something like this also may look nice, but this may be too, well, it's up to you. So there, but I would say aside Times New Roman, there's also Arial you can also try. There's Arial Bold, which may be good for headings. Okay. Where was I? Yeah. So under paragraph, we have the 2-column paragraph, 3-column paragraph, like we did in Word, right? So this would be a very good place to use 2 columns usually, right? Where you want to insert a text in such a way that it appears on 2 sides of the screen. Even though I said there's not too much text, as much as possible. In some cases, you may need to split the screen into two so you can use the text on both sides. Let's say I want to present something like gaps and novelty, or yeah, gaps and novelty, right? So, or let's say gaps and research questions. So the gaps will be on the left side of my screen, and then the novelty will be on the right side of my screen, something like this. So in that case, you may want to insert using a two column, right? So let's say I have this, and then I go to add or remove columns. So you choose the 2 columns. If you want more columns, you can come here and then choose that, right? So there's a case where you may want to do that. Okay. Then we have the decrease or increase indent. So let's say if I have a text like the following are ways to prepare a meal, right? So we can say preparation of meal. Okay, so we have the first point being boiling, right? You can also fry. And then under frying, maybe you want to do stir fry, right? Okay, so stir fry may be under frying. So here you want to emphasize that so you can increase or decrease the indent so that we know that that's what you want to show, right? So here, ideally, you can see clearly that stir frying is under frying. Is there another type of frying? Anyone can help me?
Deep.
Deep.
Deep fry, good, good. So let's say deep fry is here. So we can see clearly that, okay, the stir fry and the deep fry is under fry. So you do that with either you increase the list level or you decrease the list level. So this is quite similar to heading one, heading two kind of thing. So with that in mind, you can increase or decrease the, the list level. Okay. Then also we have the text direction. Let's say I want to turn this all over. I can go here and then choose vertical. Okay, so for some reason I want to do it like this, right? Okay, which kind of reminds me of a question that was asked earlier where the person wanted to cover the Chinese text in the figure. Okay, so you can do something like this and then turn it upside down and then use to replace the Chinese figure. Even if you don't want to cover it, you can replace it like this. So it looks like the legend on the figure originally. Then after that, you group, which we'll do later. All right. Then we also have the next one, which is quite similar to how we arrange the text in the table. If you remember in Excel, in Word, we chose layout and all that. So let's say I have a text like, let me just undo and use that same example. Okay. So I have this where I want to arrange it such that the text is at the top, middle, or bottom, or I have various options, right? So to kind of keep everything the center, you can put it in middle. Here it's not showing that well, but okay, let me insert a table and then we try and do that. Okay, so I have hmm, let's say I have one, under one I have A, I have B, and then under two I have only A. Let's say under three I have A, B, C. Okay. So for some reason, I decide to merge these two, and then I also merge these three to show that it's the same actually, different, just different classifications of three. So at this moment, you realize that the formatting is not so good. You can do the normal formatting like center everything like this and all that, right? But just everything in one go, similar to you can just go here and then choose either top, middle, or bottom, right? So I can want to keep it at middle. So here you can see that the three comes up instead of it being at the top, it comes to the middle, or you can keep it at the bottom if you want to keep it at the bottom, or at the top if you want to keep it at the top. So it kind of gives us an arrangement of what we want to do. Okay, then maybe you can center it like this so that we know that, okay, one is 1A, 1B, two is just A, and then so on. Okay. Then can you repeat the formatting again? Which formatting? Which formatting, Prince? Okay, whilst we wait for clarification on that, I'll move on. So under that, we also have the smart art, which can be found also under insert, but I just want to emphasize it here a little, or maybe I can move on before. It's also here, smart art. So let me do it in the next session rather under insert, but you can find it close to how to insert a table. I mean, how you insert a table with the numbers and alphabets. Okay, so that's under insert. I just wanted to talk about how to use this option, which is the aligning of text, either at the middle, at the top, or at the bottom. That's why I did that. But we'll talk about how to insert a table in the next tab. So just hold on. All right. So we can also have the smart art, which I also talk about it in the insert part. Okay. Then we can insert text box where you want the direction of the text to go across the screen. And then you can also do it along the screen. So they have the vertical and the horizontal text box, right? You can insert some basic shapes here, depending on what you want to do. Okay, so but we'll do more under insert. So let's skip that. Then you can arrange being that you can group some of the text, you can group some shapes, you can send the shape behind the text and all that. That will be explored more under insert. Okay. Then you can find and replace. So let me type a text again. Still at the home. You can shape fill. Let's say you want to put in some color. This is quite similar to before, as mentioned in Word. Shape effects, you can explore this one. You can find some particular text, let's say 3. You can match casing, that is how you wrote it. If it's capital letter, it should find exactly the one that has that particular capital letter in the word. So let's say if I write find, and I use a small letter, and there's a find with a capital letter, it will check all those and exactly the matching of the case, if it's lowercase or uppercase, or you just want to find the whole word or some parts of the word and all that. All right, so that's the find option here. You can also replace some fonts, how to select. I think that should do for the home tab. It was quite fast, but because most of these are quite similar in Word, I moved that fast. Any question on home? If not, I'll move on to insert. Okay, everything was
Yes,
clear.
I want to ask
Go
the
ahead.
insert text box. I don't have that. I don't know why.
This one, the text box.
Yeah, that small, yeah, this one that yeah, the one you are pointing at. I think from home you went somewhere before you got that.
No, once I go to home, I have that. Okay, maybe you can share your screen. Let me stop sharing. You
Um,
can share your screen if possible.
okay, I hope I can.
Yeah, once again, because of the variations in the editions we are all using, some are professional,
Okay.
some is 365, some is unpaid, some is paid. So there will be variances. Some is 2020, some is 2024. So yes, they are new and the position of things sometimes change, right?
Okay,
But yeah, hopefully it should be there somewhere. Um,
no
okay,
problem.
let me reshare my screen. All right, so that's home. You can also customize your ribbon, okay, just like we did it before. If you click on an empty space on the ribbon and you right click, you can customize the quick access toolbar. You can customize the ribbon. So when you go there, you can choose what you want, okay? Maybe that will also help solve that problem. All right, then we go to insert where a lot of things will happen. And maybe most of the class will be on this part. Okay, so under insert, you can insert a new slide. You can insert a table. So let's just do table, walk through it quickly. You can insert a table, you can draw a table, you can insert a table from a spreadsheet. Okay. Um, all right, let's try the first one. Let's insert a table. So insert a table, number of columns, let's say 10, and the number of rows is, let's say 5. Okay, so this is my table. Now, as to which type of table you want, in PowerPoint, it doesn't really have to follow what we did in Microsoft Word, okay, where we have to do that particular type of table with but if you can't, I'll say you can keep it as a standard if you want to, but it's quite flexible, of course, depending on the audience, but the more academic, the better. So I want to still go with something that looks similar to that. Right? And if, for example, you know that the the shading is going to give emphasis and all that, we are not just doing it because of how it looks, but it's also giving us other options. So you can choose something like this. If you want it banded or unbanded, you know what to do, right? Okay, so this kind of gives us similar to what we would expect in Microsoft Office Word. But then when you start typing, it may be an issue. So for a start, you can just use the normal one, the light, do all your typings. When you are done, then you format, okay? So that it kind of gives you a guide to what to do, right? So let's create a table. Let's create some tables. Yes. Any suggestions, what we can type in this our table 1.1. We want to show the methodology that we used. Okay, so the methodology, and then maybe the name of the methodology or something. Anyone? So we are writing a paper, we are using different methodologies. You can mention a few and then we can show it here. Maybe just three is okay. Yes, any, or something we can use to fill our table, anything. Okay, so the first method is difference in difference. So we use that for something. Okay, I see difference in difference. Okay, sorry, I couldn't copy it. ITS. Okay, wait, copy, paste. I see ITS. I see thin film migration method. Okay, so I have ITS. So let's say these are our methodologies that we are using. We want to say something small about them. So what do we use it for? So this is the method, and then maybe description of the method, something like that. Description, something short about it. Each one, you are using these three methods. So let me delete this one, maybe. Yes. Difference in difference, what do we use it for? Or what's it? Like something short about it, so we can fill the description side. Oh, so liposome preparation, that's for the thin film. Okay. Or liposome. And then difference in difference. ITS is for a retrospective study. Okay. So let's say difference in difference is just an analytical tool we are using. Yeah. Or difference in difference is for impact assessment. Okay, so let me use the right terminology. Okay. Primarily for casual impact. Okay. So for casual impact assessment. All right. Okay, so this is our table. We need to do some formatting. Where should we start from? First of all, everything is left aligned. We want to format it. So we can go to layout. That's one option. You can go to layout and then choose. We are not in layout yet, but you can choose any of these options: left, center, top, middle, bottom, right. So I want it to be in the middle
Yeah,
here,
wait.
center. Come again.
Ah,
Okay. All right. So I want to center it. So first of all, I'll highlight everything. and then I'll center by choosing here. And then I want everything also to be in the middle. So I'll choose this particular option. So it's centered and it's in the middle, or I can keep it in the bottom depending on what I want to do. You can also go to design and then make some changes of the color. Okay, so maybe you want something like this, blue, you want to look fancy here. And just like we did in Word, you can also increase the pen point, which is 1.5 like we did before. And then you can do like this. Oh, sorry. So you choose a pen color and then, oops. Okay. So I choose 1.5 minutes a line. Okay, so this is not what I want. Yeah. Yeah, but pretty much because it's a table, you can do this and then kind of outline it. Then we can do the banded rows if we want this. Perhaps maybe you want to emphasize difference in difference and I'd say, so you arrange what you want to say such that what you want to highlight is there. But if not, then you can remove the banded or you want to do banded columns, but that's not a good idea. You can do first column of header row, which is also good. And then, yeah. So that's for inserting of tables. You can also add some color if necessary, and then you can decide which type of borders you want. Okay, let's go back to insert. So we've inserted a table. Any question? This is the first approach where you insert a table by insert table. You can also draw the table. Okay. So let's try the option where we draw is the same actually. So let's say if I choose table and I choose draw table, then it means I am drawing my table like this. So you just need something to type your text in there, right? So you can type methodology or something. Okay, so this is my methodology. And then I can put that somewhere above the screen. For it to become my header of the slide. Okay, so I'll center it and then do all the necessary formatting. Okay. Then we can also insert table from a spreadsheet, which is from Excel. So you go to Excel, spreadsheet.
O pessoal de três que aí. O dia seguinte, tá? Já para fazer buço ao maluco. Ah, o tira advanced X.
Okay, so I want to insert a table, right? But the table is within Excel. So what can I do? I can customize it from here as one way. Let's say I had already typed this in the Excel, right? So you have the option to move the Excel sheet around, right? So let's say the same thing, right? Okay, so I'll type methodology or the method, right? Method. And then we have description here. So same, just like we had before, let's say difference in difference, DID, and then whatever I wrote here before, and then say, let's say I have ITS. Okay. Let me copy. Okay, so once I'm done, let's say this is what I want. Instead of this table, then I'll have this table and I can format it from there. Okay, so maybe you don't want to plot the results from the table, right? Let's say you have, let's say, participants, the gender and all those information. You just want to show that of how maybe you process your data or your descriptive data. So you just put it there like that. So it's from Excel and you are doing that, right? So that's another way. But um, if it's not so convenient for you, then you can draw the table here by yourself and then put everything in here. Sometimes moving it from one place to another, the formatting becomes an issue. So that's just inserting of a table, three options, sorry. Okay, then we can go to inserting of pictures, which is quite basic. Find a picture and then put it here. You can also find online pictures like we did before with the apple, if you remember, the blue apple. So you can find what, um, let's see, airplane. So make sure you check out the Creative Commons only, because these ones are available to be used. If maybe something else comes up, copyright issues coming, right? So you can insert the particular figure that you have. So it's downloading the figure. It may take a while. Okay. I think there's a comment. In the inserting of a table of Excel, can I insert an already completed Excel table? Yes, you can do that. Let this one finish. Oh, for some reason, it doesn't want to download. Yes, so the question that was asked, in that case, you insert from a file, not a table. You insert it from a file. So I'll go to that in a minute. What was I? Yes, so the picture that I didn't want to come. You can also insert a screenshot. So you go to screen clipping. So my screen will come and then I can take a screenshot of the screen. Let's say this part, and then it automatically screenshot what I have here. Let's say you want to quickly, if you open a paper, you quickly screenshot that part and then you put it inside, and maybe a figure in the paper, and then you just put it there like that. Okay, so we have our table and our picture here. Then back to insert, you can insert some shapes. Okay, so for shapes, there are so many things here, but what I want to talk about is the circle shape, right? We don't have circle here. If you look through we don't have a circle, right? The only one we have here is actually an oval. If you put it there, you realize that it's an oval, right? Unless you manually adjust it by yourself. So by default, it's an oval. So what you do is you click on, when you go to insert and then you shapes, you choose this one. And as you are drawing it, you hold down your shift, okay? As you are drawing it, you hold down your shift on your keyboard and then you'll be drawing, so then you can get a circle. If you just draw it normally, it will be an oval. Let me do it again. Insert, go to shape, and then you click on oval, which is actually what it is. Then you draw it. It would give you something you may not be able to control. It's quite like it's unhinged, right? So it can give you something else that is not a circle. But if you want to control it such that it's a circle, insert again, go to shape, click on the oval, but before you start drawing, hold on the shift key on your keyboard, right? And then you start drawing, and then it gives you that leverage of drawing something more circular as compared to an oval. Okay, so that's just by the way. And then there are different shapes here, the flow chart people. Okay, so let's do a flow chart quickly. I'll need someone here with that experience or that background to help me draw a flow chart. Anyone available? Let's draw a conceptual framework or something. Let's do it quickly. Okay. So to save time, I'll do it by myself. All right, so I draw, or let me use a text box, insert. So insert or home, I can take my text box. You can do this manually here, like I'm doing. So I want to write a paper, steps in writing a paper, or let's say parts of a paper. That would be very simple. Parts of a paper. I think this way of teaching is also very good, talking to myself. Yeah, for 2 hours, not expecting feedback. Anyway, it makes me move faster. So I have parts of a paper, right? So the first part being introduction, or let's say abstract, right? So insert, I go to shapes, and then I want to use the line, right? So I can do this. And also to be able to control the kind of the flexibility of the line, you can also use the shift once again, right? If you want it to actually go in the direction you want to, instead of just drawing the line like this, where it can tilt, you can go back to insert shape. Before you draw the line, you click on the shift or you hold on the shift on the keyboard, and then it gives you, you see, I cannot even if you move, it moves in a particular restricted direction, right? At kind of restricted intervals, right? So if you want to draw a straight line, maybe your hand is shaky, right? You can hold on the shift and then click on that. All right. So I have that. This particular arrow looks so small for me. So what can I do? You can go to shape outline, increase the weight, let's say 2.4, 2.25. I can change the color also. And then I have this one here. Okay, so the parts of a paper, you have introduction, which is the first step. So I can type another, let me put something around this thing, good, so that it looks a little bit nice. Or let me see, let me hold everything here in the center. Okay, so there's a part where I can talk about introduction, right? But this doesn't make sense, right? Okay, so let's say variable one. Let me go back to this is my first variable. And then I want a second variable, which is not part of a paper, but I can use this arrow. I think this one looks nice also. Something like this. Okay. And then maybe I have variable two here. Right, this is quite manual, right? And you may be prone to a lot of errors, it may not be nice. There's a faster way, which we'll talk about it in a bit. But yes, you can create your own shapes here. Now I'm done. Let's assume this is my whole template, okay, for the framework. It's not looking nice, but yeah, I'm done. What do I need to do? I need to group everything so you can control all, or you can just hover over everything and then highlight everything, right? And then you have, if you click on the control on your keyboard, okay, after you've highlighted everything, just press on the control on the keyboard to be command for the Mac users. And then you have something like a box with a plus showing, right? And then you right click. I'll take it again. After you've done everything in your different parts of your work, you want to put them together such that anytime you move, everything will move together and it's not like one part will move and leave the other, right? At this moment, if I can move this one and it may cause a problem, right? So I want it to be that I move the thing as a figure or I move it as one. So I just highlight everything, okay? And then you click on the control on your keyboard. Once that sign shows up, you right click. Sometimes when you right click, it leaves out one. Then you group, okay? So once you group now, I can move everything together. Okay, I can move it together as without necessarily hovering over everything. It's now like a whole. Okay. So let's say this is what was in a certain figure you want to edit. You don't have time to redraw. Okay. But here I want to put in another box. Okay. Let's say this is the figure you saw online and you directly want to reproduce it. Or let's say for some reason, like I said before, there's a Chinese character here. So let's say I have something like this. Okay. So this is, and I want to change this. This is window. So I want to write it in English. I've seen that the image is so nice and I want to kind of read. You can redraw it if you can, but it just wants a quick fix like was asked earlier. So this is trying to answer what was asked before. So I want to create another box, which is, so first of all, you can go back to group and then you ungroup it. Then you have what you had before. And then I copy this, right? And I write temperature. Okay. So once I have temperature, I can put it back here. Or if you don't want trouble, you can also make sure this goes send to back, right? You click on that one and make sure that it's actually going to the back. So it can go send to back or it can go backward. Back meaning that the very back, but backward meaning that just behind what you are coming to show. So maybe there could be 2 or 3 layers. So you are going back, it's just behind, back, right? The very last one, that will be the third layer, but just backward meaning that the very next layer. Okay. So let me send to back so that I make sure that in any case it doesn't happen again. Then I overlap it like this. And then I go back to my highlight everything, click on my control on the keyboard, and then you have that particular group again, and then you regroup or group, both works. So now anytime I move this, it feels like a whole new redrawn something. Oh, okay, so we can see something happening here. Okay, so even though it's hidden, I only regrouped some parts and I didn't regroup the temperature. So let me undo it and then go back to group, ungroup. Okay, so I'll make sure that I cover everything. So Control A, and then once I'm grouping again, I make sure I'll add this one to highlight everything. Yeah, hopefully it has done everything. So now can I move everything? No, it's not working. Okay, let me try again. For some reason, it's not working. Oh, okay. Let's just keep it as it was before. No need to send it back. And bring to front. Let's see if this will work. Okay, now it's front. And then bring this back to front. Oops. Okay. So now, hopefully it should work. Oops. Just wants to film me. Anyway, you can hide, but then it seems like the grouping is not working at the moment. All right, I'll just move on. So you can change something like this and then group. It should work, but I don't know why.
Prof,
Yes.
please, I think you can ungroup all of them and just first deal with the temperature and the window. You
Mhm.
group them first. You make it
Okay.
as a whole. Yes,
All
before
right.
you do that.
Okay, so let's try that. So let me ungroup everything. Okay. So let me try and then ungroup this one too. Okay, so we have this and this, and we want to group this together. Hopefully this one will work. Let's see. Okay, yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, so it's working now. So now I have only one and the other one is just behind it. So Now I can regroup everything. All right, thanks so much, Dr. Irene. Yeah, so this is how we go about some of the grouping and ungrouping. So you have the text here. So whilst I'm on this, let me just show you how to export this as a figure. Okay, we've tried to make the unethical change by changing someone's work. But yeah, this form of change is also a form of editing. So instead of saying that the idea is actually yours, you can say translated by me, right? By the author, okay, because there's something similar. So let's say that, which I'll not advise, but because you saw it this way, you can change some colors, you can change some concepts, but that's also for a different conversation. Now I want to insert this particular figure into Word, okay, or into my thesis document. What do? I'll go to File, I'll go to Save As. So depending on the location, let me put it at desktop. Okay. So it's easier to find, oh, that location you want. So make sure you also have the author name being yours. This is one way someone can easily check if the work was done by you or not. Okay. So we have, make sure it's your name. Presentation title. So it's figure 1, right? Let's say figure 1 of my paper. Let me put it as figure 1. Then you save as type. Save as type. Who remembers the format we agreed on that it should be the way you save your images? Do you remember? Anyone?
Yeah.
How should
If
come again?
GIF, GIF.
GIF? No. Did you mean GJF or GIF? Oh no, GJF is something. Sorry, GIF. No, GIF exists, but that's not what we want to use in our papers. Okay. We mentioned it in the last Microsoft Office class. Okay, so I'll go to the list. Is it .pptx? That's a long list. I will not finish now. All right, so I'll reiterate it. For high quality figures, don't go for GIF. No. Maybe if you have some animations, you want to do that, right? But as much as possible, if it's a still image, you go for .tif. T for tema. TIF, right? It keeps all the beautiful work that you have done, and it preserves everything in the format. So .tif or sometimes .tiff. And then also, if you don't have that, then you can do .epx, EPS, EP and an S, right? That's also one way of saving your images. This works for every output that you want to do in a different software. So when you finish saving, draw everything in another software and you are exporting it, try and export it in .tif. If you don't have that option, you can do .eps. If you don't have that option, then you try and come to JPEG and PNG. Okay. GIF is if you want to do some animations or there's an animation within whatever you're exporting. Okay. So .tif.eps is what we would want to have to preserve our images. So I'll use .tif. So if I save figure 1 as .tif in my desktop. Okay. So let me just put it at desktop and then save. Right. I think everything. Okay. So once you save, it asks you a question. Which slides do you want to export? Let's say you have 5 slides. Okay. If you say all slide, it will export everything. But you want just that one slide that you have created that figure in there. So you click just one slide. Okay. So we now open our Word document. The better way to put a figure into a Word document is not to copy and paste it, is to insert, because of reasons that you want to keep everything of the preserving of the image. So go back to pictures. Where is the picture? The picture is on desktop, and we find our .tif here and we insert it. Okay, right. So that's the whole process. Let me read the comment. In the inserting of a table with Excel, can I? Okay, you already, yeah, TIFF, good. No, JP. Okay, all right. So I was just reading the comments. Yeah, so that's just by the way, because I was already on it. So we've done grouping, we've tried to manipulate some of the figures or images as much as possible, right? But you can always redesign, okay? Change colors, change the fonting, change the arrangement as much as possible. Try and be create by yourself so it doesn't look exactly like what you saw, unless what you saw is actually wow, it's wow in your mind, but you have no other idea. Then you can do some of these covering up and all of that. Okay, and then still on inserts, we're on shapes where I try to do that, but you can also do icons, right?
Yeah, Prof.
Yes.
Yes, please. What you've just done right now, is it what
Hmm.
we call adapted from, or because it's like,
Yes.
okay, thank you.
You can do adapted from, you can do reproduced from,
Okay.
you can do which other word can you use? Yeah, but in line of that thought, adapted from Yevu Etas 2024, right? The concept adapted from that. So you know, sometimes you try and describe a conceptual framework in words, right? There's a way you can change words to text, words to images, right? I won't show that because I'm recorded, but there's a way you can do that in this Microsoft Office suite. For those of us who don't like reading, right? Just highlight the text. I'm actually showing it. Anyway, so that was just by the way. So yes, adapted from or reproduced from or redesign something, anything to show that you are not the real source, but you got it from someone, right? Good. Um, Icons can also help you as much as possible to flow charts and all that. So let's say in your flow chart, you need to say save the document or save something. You can use the save like icon or something. Yeah. So as much as possible, you can explore the icons also. This one helps us to do black and white figures. And it's important because, sometimes depending on where the person is, the location of the reader, they may not be able to print colored, right? So imagine you've put colored across all your lines, your shapes, okay, blue line, green line, red line. Now they print everything in black and white and they can't follow, okay? So one advice my master's professor gave me is as much as possible, try and design every image in black and white first. Try and design every image in black and white first. So there you use things like maybe a straight line, a solid line, a dashed line, and things like that. If you are out of options, then you think about color. But if you look at the design of that concept from color, it kind of makes your work simple and easy to understand. It may not have all the fancy things, but one way to be able to do such a very nice yet clear figure is using the icons. Okay, and then if you want to go further, you add the color. But now most of the things are online. We don't need to print. But just keep that in mind. In case a person wants to print and doesn't have money to print it colored, they can still appreciate your work. All right. So 3D models, smart art. So I'll explore the smart art as much as possible. Okay. So smart art helps us. I think I talk about this also in the word class, but there are so many variations of charts, processes, hierarchy, relationships. So I'll try and use hierarchy. Okay. So in the whole process of designing our work, we want to use something like steps. Okay, steps to consider or something. Or let's use this one. Okay, so this is the dependent variable, let's say dv, right? And then I have the independent variable 1 and independent variable 2. Okay, now independent variable is also something, something, and then connected by this. Okay, let me delete this part for now. I'll I want to delete this third level, or let me just keep it. All right. So who helped me? Let's draw a conceptual framework from here, please. Hypothesis 1 is where? insert text. So we want to put hypothesis 1. Please, where should I put it? Here or here or here or here? Anyone? Oh, silence.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, let's put it there. Let's go. So let's come hypothesis 2.
After 3 weeks, I'm used to the silence, so
Oh,
I just move on.
sorry.
I just move on. Imagine you
Yeah,
replay the video.
I was thinking we're gonna use maybe sampling. You be
Okay, so H3A and H3B.
3B.
Yes, I'm trying to create from the scratch. Okay,
Then H4.
H4. Okay, thank you so much. All right, so I have my H4 somewhere here. Okay, so what can I put here in the text, this side? What can I put here? Anyone to help me? Nothing.
I think maybe let's put male and female.
Male.
Yes,
Okay, male and female.
yes.
Okay.
So let's come down here, female. Then let's come to
Okay,
H4. Let's put this thing here.
age maybe.
Yes, age, perhaps, maybe.
Okay. All right. So this is our framework. You say it doesn't look nice. No problem. It's better than nothing. Oh, there's so many texts you are saying. Now we want to do some nice formatting here. As much as possible, let's go back to black and white. So let's change everything. The shape field to, no, I'm changing the shape field. Okay. Shape field here should be, let's say white. Okay, one quick way to do that is just go to design. And then you choose the color. I want black and white, or maybe you want different colors. So let's choose colorful, maybe for now. Or black and white should do. Okay, let's just choose colorful. And then I wanted, it's still loading. I wanted to choose which one would be nicer. I don't want yellow, so I want to go for easy colors. Maybe this is one. Okay. Okay, then quick thing I need to do is look at the font size and style. I want to do 20, maybe this is okay. And it should apply to all. Okay, so you realize that these guys are not following and even if I move. So what do I need to do? Who can tell me? Okay, so first of all, I need to group. So you can group. Yes, thank you. You can Control A and then you right click. Right, once you right click, sometimes it's a bit difficult, but you try as much as possible to right click on the text and then the image or different text, and then you group together. Okay, now as much as possible, let's hope everything good. Now I can move anywhere. The font sizes are not the same, so let me keep everything consistent. And this one is too big, so let me do this. Okay, this one also should. Okay, I should have done this before. I should have done the formatting before on Google. So Control A. No. Okay, let me do one by one and then so Times New Roman, maybe 20 should do. Yeah. 20. Okay, so I have this. I want a shortcut. So if you remember what we did last time about the painter, I'm just using the painter option. Copying one format here, click on the painter, and then send the formats to the other side. Okay, so let me draw this. I can shift this a little bit. Okay, maybe this one can be there like that. And then was 20 times New Roman. Same for this. Hopefully my printer should work. Okay, and then if I want to do multiple ones, I click on this. Okay, so what else can I change here? Maybe, still doesn't look nice. Okay, let me make it a bit smaller. Let's see. Oh, I've not recouped it. Mm. So you group. Mm. Now I have it. Mm. Okay, so I have this, and then as much as possible, you can also export it as a figure. But we want to add something that will make this a bit nicer. What can we do? Anyone? Give us some ideas. Maybe I can make this a bit smaller. So whatever consistency we used here, we must also use here so that we see that there is some consistency with male and female. Okay, something like this maybe. Well, then we can save it as a figure 2 and then remove it there. So this is just one example of how you can use the smart art, but there are so many options there as well. If you go back to smart art, we also have the psychometrics, so many options. You can play around with that depending on which one suits that particular thing you want to give out. Let's say you want to do a flow chart, right? A flow chart. So maybe you can do hierarchy again, step by step, a cycle. You can choose this. This one is quite popular, the radial. And then, yeah. So that's for smart art. Then we go to chart. Chart to be able to plot certain things, right? So you want a pie chart, a bar chart. I think I've talked about this before, but just for the sake of those who are new. Insert, there's already some figures there. If you don't want that, then you can edit it by yourself. Something like this, and then you have that here. Okay, now I want to edit this particular chart. Let's say this is what I want, but I want to make some edits. So you go to design. Okay, so at design, you can see we have add elements, chart element. So what do we need? Do we need an axis? Do we need an axis title? Do we need a chart and all, chart title and all that? One thing I advise is if you are using the figure in, let's say, a Word document or a paper, it's not so ideal to put a title inside the figure because you are still going to give a caption of the figure, right? So a title sometimes is redundant. I know sometimes we want to put it there, but you can avoid it. Just put in a legend and you are good to go. Even if it's PowerPoint, you are still going to insert it. You can still give a caption by yourself, right? So as much as possible, we can make our work a little different from what people do. I know in Python, when you put everything, usually the title is there. You can just comment it out and then it removes the title for you, right? Or what I see people doing is they put the title there like this, and when they are done, they crop it. It works sometimes. But cropping also is a form of formatting, so it may also take away some of your formatting. So just avoid titles if necessary. But if you have no other option, you can keep it like that. Okay, so back to what we want to do to make this a little bit customized. I go back to design again. What should I add? Should I add some, where should I put a legend? Let's see on the right. Okay. Should I put grid lines? Maybe, maybe not, depending on the emphasis you want to make. Trend lines are also there. Exponential, maybe based on series 2. You can try it and put in if applicable. Then we have the quick layout template where you just choose from any of these, right? As much as possible. Colors, you can change them within a scheme of. Okay, so this is also another advice. As much as possible, don't use different colors, but use different hues within the scheme of colors. Okay, too much English. But what I'm just trying to say is, if you have green, you can fade out the green in terms of hue and what's the other name? When there's more white is something, when there's more black is hue or thing. I think I've confused that. But let's say I have dark, then darker, dark, then darker, darker, dark of the dark, right? You can go in that series if you want to keep consistency instead of just doing black, green, blue, and all that. So you can do monochromatic and then you go along that line. So here all is blue, but it's different shades of blue. Thank you so much. Shades and then, yeah. So shades of the blue, you can keep it. Or if it's black, shades of the black or shades of the white or something. You can go in that series. It more makes your work different or stand out, right? If you do that way, than black, blue, green, yellow. Today, I just reviewed a paper from one journal. Very good, very good, very good write-up. But then what took me off was the colors were all over the place in the charts. So because of that, I was supposed to give a minor revision, but I gave a major revision because of that. Because if the quality of the work is good and your graph is not good, it's just saying something else about you. So I wasn't happy with the work at all, even though I was happy with the content, but the charts were like off the way. So yes, you can use this way approach instead of just taking colors. So use different shades of one color. Yes, different shades of one color is better. Unless for what you are doing, you really need to show different colors to make it stand out, right? But one trick that I also got from one of the editors is that okay, let me use this particular example where on the screen we have category 4 being, like, say, the highest. You can kind of make everything almost the same color and then just highlight the best one that you want to talk about. So let's say you have 4 models. Model 4 is the best. There's no business telling us that, okay, model 1 is blue. No, make different colors. You can make almost all the same color, right? And then make emphasis on only the model 4 because that's what you want to stand out, right? So you can give, let's say, the same hues or shades of the color for different model, category 1, category 2. We don't need this. Okay, maybe category 2 and category 4, because maybe it has the highest, you can make it stand out by bolding it. Just a normal bold would change everything. What do I mean? Like this. Maybe, oh, it's not allowing me to bold this. Okay, let me see if I can make it. Does it affect this? Okay, so if there was a way I could, let's say, change the legend category 3 so that it's bold, then I can bold it. Or I can just go back to insert. Let's say all are the same color, right? And I just want to highlight. I can go to insert, go to shapes, and then just take a box and then just highlight this. Okay, and then you can make it no fill. And you are good to go. We all know that once we see this screen or this particular figure, our attention should go to that box because it's standing out. Okay, so instead of looking for different colors and it will cause trouble with reviewers, you can just do this. Or if you wanted to make it not so heavy in there, you can use the weight. increase the weight, but then also make it dash instead of just a full. So, okay, outline again, and then you go to dashes. So you can just do something. Obviously, anyone who sees this will be like, okay, what is that one? And then they focus on that, right? So it can even be black and white, and then only that one is color. You can gray everything else out. We don't need to see it. Okay, this one is where I want the focus. Okay, so that's one way of going around your figures. That's just by the way. Okay, and then still under insert chart, you talk about it, getting add-ins. So there's one add-in I want to talk about here, which is designer, but unfortunately my version doesn't support. So maybe you can try it on your
Hello,
end.
sir. I have a
Yes,
question.
go ahead.
I realized when you outlined the part the part that you want to talk about, it's also showing in the legends.
No, this
I'm
legend is
seeing something
the thread
else.
line. No, it was a thread line. Let me remove the
Oh,
thread line.
okay.
Yeah, it's a thread line. This one, I inserted a shape.
Okay,
It's just a
okay.
shape I inserted. Yeah, sorry about that
That's
confusion.
it.
It was just a
Okay.
thread line that came. Yeah. Okay. Then for add-ins, we have designer. So designer gives you, it's kind of an AI embedded into your PowerPoint. It doesn't work for all versions, so you can try. So let's go to get add-ins. You go under the Microsoft Office store. Hopefully your VPN is off. And then you can type designer. This one is one of them. I think there are various versions of it, but you can add anything like design for Office or design for PPT or something. It works also in Word and all that. So you can agree and then you install it. So it's just an add-in that may help you. What it does is once you start typing the words, it gives you like a pictorial form of it or an image form of it. Okay. And then you can change your slide, make it more lively. It's here at Office at Work. But for me, if I start to do it, it says that it's not compatible with my version for some reason. But maybe you can try yours and it will work. I've seen it work in other people's one. Can you please repeat the outline again? Okay. Okay, so to repeat outline, let me make everything else the same color. So you can see just how you can change something without changing so many colors, right? But how many people remember the colors we advised each other? We are a group, we are a family now, right? So there are some rules that we are going by within this time, and hopefully we pick it up. But there are some colors that I advise we use. Who can remember them? There are three of them. If you should go for colors, go for these three, and it works every time. And depending on how you do it, so beautiful. With a white background, it's always good. Blue and black. Okay, there's
Black,
one more.
blue, and red.
Black, blue, and red. Good. If you want to go for green, maybe I should demonstrate it here. So black, blue, and red. Okay, so let's use this particular one. I'm filling it normally. Okay, manually, sorry. So let me fill it manually so I make the emphasis here. And then I'll come to the outline later. So let me delete the outline. First of all, the first one is black. So here is black, not outline, fill, black, good. And then I have blue. I'm putting them together so we see how it stands, how each one should be combined. Black, blue, and then red. Okay, this particular blue is too, what should be the word I use that will help? It's a blue, but it's not blue that we want, right? So you can go to more colors. I want the actual blue, like what kind of blue is this one? Is it dark blue? I don't know. For the Photoshop people don't know what the designer people don't know what kind of, and every color has a code. So if you know that the color or the code of the color, you can maybe Google it and then get the name of it, right? So the blue that I'm looking for, it's more on the darker side. up here, somewhere here, maybe, hopefully it should be this one. Yeah, something like this. Yeah, I see a lot of comments. It's too loud. Yes, yes. Yeah. Okay, royal blue. Okay, okay, okay. I'm learning something. Royal blue. Okay. So let's see this combination. Against this combination, I'm just reversing the order. Let's say I have black, red, blue. Now I want to go black. Okay. I'm feeling not shit. Okay, so I'm going black again, and I'll do white. I'll just add a little bit of white. Let's see what happens. And then I'll do, let's say blue. Blue. Okay. Okay. Oh, because it's, let me do my own thing. Sorry. Let me plot my own data. So insert chart. I want to plot my own data. And not this one. Okay, wait. No templates. No. I don't want the one that has so many. Okay, I can just delete it. How am I even worried? Okay. So instead of 4 categories, let's say I just have 2 categories. Yes, and then I would edit it from here. It's just 2 categories. Good. All right. So I'm done with this one, and then I have black. Okay, black, orange. I want to be able to edit. Okay, good. And then the blue. Not all blue, just this blue change. Okay, let me just make a copy. I think that will solve my problem. Okay, so this is the first one. Hopefully, this one will not change everything. Yellow, okay. It's looking nice here, but anyway, yellow is no good. Because sometimes, even though it's looking nice, when you project it, depending on the background surface, if it's too smooth or too rough, it can change your yellow to look like something else, right? So let's keep to the blue, black, red. Sometimes you can do gray options also. I think gray almost like the white makes it look, the blue and the red pop out. But what I want to say here is blue and red looking nicer than blue and black? Which one do you think? That's if they follow each other consecutively. Which one do you think is nicer? What I mean is this. Let's see, the last one is also, this one, I think let me put another color here. Okay. Do you think blue and red is nicer than blue and black? What do you think? Oh. Anyone? Would you go for the one on the left or the one on the right? Which one do you think is nicer? Or is not nice? Well, if all is not nice, within the two, which one is better?
The one on the right looks better.
The right looks better. So you
Blue
don't
and
like
black.
red. Blue and black moves well, right? So
Yeah.
when you are writing, or let's say you are creating a figure, right? You can use a black text, and then you use the blue to emphasize what you want us to see, even if it's text, right? So let's say there's no good example coming to mind at the moment, but we type in black, all the things in the text are black, but you want to highlight or pop out a certain text, you use blue. Okay, you can use blue. Red, no, it's too loud, like someone said, right? That's for text, even within the image. Okay, so these are some of the little tricks. You can just know them. So red, blue, black, even though I said that, you can fine-tune the combination. You can also look at the shading. Okay, so instead of this particular red, maybe let's try another type of red. Maybe that will help us. So let's go to more fill and then see the shading of the red where we can we still want to use red here, but we want a different shade of the red. So red is somewhere here. Let me zoom in a little bit. Is this one red? No. Maybe something that has like a touch of red, maybe more brownish or a little lighter on the eyes. Okay, so maybe something like this can work, maybe. Let's see. Yeah, the color combination is very nice. As much as possible, keep a white background. Maybe this one. Would you still go for the left or right? Or will you start now considering the left one? So it depends, okay? It depends on the combination. Okay, now everything is grayed out in the sense that I'm using the same color for all. So I'll go back to design and I'm using change color. I'm using monochromatic. Okay, something like this. Perfect. They are all like this. But I want to highlight one particular thing. One option is I'll go to insert and then do my shape thing. Okay, choose a shape here. Okay, then you go to no fill because the shape is covering what I wanted to go to shape fill, right? And then no fill. Okay, so no fill now gives me what I wanted to do earlier. And then I'll go to shape outline. Shape outline, I have the weight, so make it a little bit big so we know that this is the area you want to focus on. And then you can put the red thing, right? So that we know that that's what, if you don't want red, you can choose another color. Even black will do. It still tells us that this part of the work is what you want to focus on. And if I should go on slide mode, you can see it's obviously clear that, okay, category 2 is what I want to talk about. Even though everything here is black and white, right? It's more about the eyes. Okay, let's say I don't want this option, or even further on, I can still do more things to my border. The border I did, which is still shape outline, then you can do the dashes. Okay, so the dashes kind of gives it more emphasis. Okay, no, I didn't highlight it. Go to dash. You can go to the dash dot or this one, whichever one works for you. Maybe this one. Okay, and if you have two figures in the same slide, you can also use this thing to kind of separate, or every figure should have an outline, right? It depends on the application. So what I mean is this, so many things at the same time. But yes, this one. So between figure A and figure B, look at figure A. This one way of doing it. Okay, another way of doing it is we've grayed out everything, and this is the maximum. So let's give it a different color, which will be, or you can give it an outline, but here I want to use a fill. Yeah, and it solves your problem. We don't care about the other ones. They are not even necessary in our conversation, right? We want to show that that particular one is giving the highest. So that's all we need to do. We don't care about the color of the other ones. And then you have to struggle with whether yellow will match with blue or no. You just highlight what you need. And like they say, less is more. It becomes more beautiful and intuitive. Right? It's okay. Okay. All right. I think I've spoken so fast today, and it's a bit a lot to handle. But any questions so far? Any specific questions concerning things about what I've said? Because even though I'm in home and insert, I'm talking about how to save and all that. So any question? Okay. Should I move on?
Yes, please.
Okay,
Okay. All right.
before you move on,
Okay.
there are some
Mhm.
charts where you want
Mhm.
to depict a particular representative, but you are using one chart for different grade. Maybe agree, strongly agree, very agree on one particular bar. How is that one done?
In one bar, you have the compounded form. I think that's what you're
Yes,
looking for.
yes.
Oh, okay, I get it. So under chart, it's here. This one, you have the star column, 100% star column. I think this one, you can explore this one. Is this what you are talking about? Is it this one?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so the star column, but I prefer the 3D one where it looks like they are the terracotta warriors in the, yeah, but it's up to you. Because sometimes it's difficult to read this one also. And if you are using this, of course, the highlighting will also work very well. Where you choose a very, so let's say the middle will be white, if possible. No, maybe blue. And then the down will be some gray, and then the other part maybe some part of a red or something, depending on the combination, so that you know that the middle part or the down part is giving the, but it's also nice. People use this one, but I usually prefer the 3D one. It looks more artistic to me. The emphasis is on the me. So even with this, you have different variations. Okay, you can do this one or this one. Yeah, there are so many. I also like the one with the black background. Sometimes depends on. It looks more business-like to me to use a black background, right? That's my own thing, right? Because I've seen most of the background being black from like seminars that are business related, and white more like academic or something. Maybe I didn't say it well, but that's my personal opinion. Or you can go with this one also. Depends on the application. So yeah. All right, if there are no questions, I'll move on. Okay, let's say we've plotted this bar chart. Now we don't want it. I can change the chart type here. Just go here and change the chart type. So maybe a line or a pie chart or bar graph. Once again, you can explore the different. Okay, so at this point, I would kind of shade Excel a little, although we'll go to Excel. I'll shade Excel a little. I'll try a shade to Excel. Excel is very good with plotting figures, but if you are on this call and you are using Excel in your papers, please, I'm begging you at this point, stop it. Okay, outputting figures from Excel into academic environments, it's not the best. It's not the best at all. Okay, I know Excel can give nice figures and all that, but let's stop it. Okay, so I'll give you options, of course. That's why we're on the call. You can use Python if you are a bit conversant with Python. But if not, can we pause the recording for a minute? You can pause, not stop.